It's November 28th, 2016, and it's time to review 5 of the most outrageous, infuriating, or just plain baffling things that have happened lately. It's your Facepalm 5. Let's count them down. Number 1. Trump's troubling cabinet picks. Let's just run down a few of the highlights, shall we? Potential Attorney General Jeff Sessions, whose racism kept him off the federal court in the 1980s. Trump's new chief strategist, Steve Bannon, who ran the white supremacist and anti-feminist news site Breitbart.com. Trump's potential HUD secretary, Ben Carson, who recently said publicly that he doesn't want a position in government because he has no relevant experience. So far, Trump's cabinet picks have been a combination of racist and alarmingly unqualified. Gee, if only there had been some prior indication that Trump was going to surround himself with such people if elected. Oh well. Number 2, Trump demands apology after Pence is booed on Broadway. Vice President-elect Mike Pence went to see Hamilton last week in New York for some reason. When his presence was announced, the audience booed, and then after the show, Brandon Victor Dixon, who plays Aaron Burr, directly addressed Pence, calling upon him and the coming administration to defend and uphold the inalienable rights of all Americans. Pence, a bigot who has repeatedly sought to use the power of government to oppress LGBTQ people, later said that he wasn't offended by what Dixon had to say. Donald Trump, on the other hand, immediately took to Twitter to demand an apology from the cast of Hamilton. The future President of the United States demanded an apology from a group of artists who were doing what could be interpreted as petitioning the government for a redress of grievances, which is one of those inalienable rights that is explicitly guaranteed by the Constitution that Trump will soon swear to uphold. But I'm sure this isn't a sign of things to come for the next 4 years. Everything is fine. Number 3, water protectors brutalized at Standing Rock. The ongoing standoff between police and water protectors protesting construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline near Standing Rock, North Dakota, is getting uglier by the day. Recently, police used rubber bullets, tear gas, and water cannons deployed in freezing temperatures to attack protesters, many of whom are Native Americans who believe that construction of the pipeline threatens their water supply and their sacred lands. One of the protesters was so badly injured that she may lose her arm, and yet still no decisive action from President Obama. One of the most important jobs of a government is to defend its most vulnerable citizens. The people of Standing Rock are putting their lives at risk to defend their land and their way of life. It is long past time the United States government stepped up and stood beside them. Number 4, Republicans propose new anti-LGBTQ laws. Meanwhile, in South Dakota, a Republican activist has introduced a ballot initiative for the 2018 election, which, if approved, would prohibit public schools from allowing transgender students from using the restrooms that match their gender identity. In the Texas state legislature, a Republican senator has introduced legislation which would require public schools in that state to out LGBTQ students who may still be closeted to their parents at home. And to this I say, you go get 'em, Republicans! It's about time somebody showed those trans kids who's boss. They've had it too good for too long, what with so many of them being bullied to the point of suicide. Number 5, news media continues to normalize racism. The mainstream news media's long-standing squeamishness about calling bigotry by its name has become especially aggravating and dangerous since the election, with many in the media balking at describing the alt-right as a white supremacist group, despite the fact that it explicitly embraces white supremacy. Now, to be fair, there are some folks who are more on my side of the political spectrum who are maybe taking things a bit too far, calling for Trump's supporters and cronies to be called Nazis, which would not be correct. Strictly speaking, Nazis were members of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which has not existed since the end of World War II. The proper term is neo-Nazi, and we should use it. That's 5. Catch you later. Hey folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And also please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron and help me continue to make these sorts of videos for as little as $1 a month. But if you go a little bit above and beyond and you pledge at the level of $5 a month or more, you earn yourself a shout out at the end of the Facepalm 5. Just like these folks who have become new $5 or more level patrons since the last Facepalm 5 video. Jens Hedqvist, thank you Jens, I hope I'm pronouncing that right by the way. Sanji Nativus, thank you very much Sanji, again, I really hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, I apologize if I'm not. Danao, thank you Danao, and Brian Bolin, thank you all for joining the Patreon campaign. Thanks to everybody who is a new or a long-standing patron. Thanks to all of you watching who are not patrons for whatever reason, but have supported my work by watching and sharing and liking and doing all those other wonderful things. I so appreciate you all. I couldn't do it without you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.